Hi everybody, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I'm Richard. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Stevens Marksman. Now Stevens is a much older company. It's now part of Savage, it's Stevens Savage, but Savage didn't take over Stevens until like 1920. Now this was made probably before 1915. The only reason I can say that is because these didn't have serial numbers on it, but the marking on the side here says J. Stevens Arms and Tool Company. After 1915, I think they just changed it to J. Stevens Arms or something like that. So the name did change on it. So that's the only thing that lets me know about when this one was made. Now I bought this back at the same time I did the video dating your firearms. I picked up a parlor rifle and this Marksman, and when I picked it up I did not know what it was. I knew that it was a Stevens, but it was such a light film of rust over the whole side of the receiver there, I couldn't even read anything on it. So I did do some cleaning. I got it uncovered where it says J. Stevens Arms and Tool Company, and it's the Marksman, which would be, some people refer to it as the Model 12. It doesn't say Model 12 on it anywhere. I think it was just in the advertisement was the only place you would see the actual model number on it. Now it's kind of a lever action, brake action, whatever you want to call it. This one is chambered in 22 long rifle, and it is marked right on the top of the barrel, 22 long rifle. And they were chambered in 22 long rifle, 25 rimfire, 32 rimfire, and I hear there's even a 44 caliber smoothbore version for the 44 caliber rimfire shot rounds that would have been in there. Now this one has, it's in pretty good shape. The bore in this thing is in great shape, but the action here is where it's a little bit loose. Now a lot of these things would fall down under their own weight, and this one doesn't take much effort to open it up. So it will, I mean, it's a little loose, and the problem is the link screw right here is the weakest point of it. And what happens is this screw is probably one of the smallest screws on here, and they weren't hardened screws, and it wasn't hardened metal there, so it was soft and it would wear out. That constant opening and closing of it, and that puts pressure on it to close your barrel up there. That screw is weak. Now unfortunately with this one, someone has damaged this screw on the back side of it there, and I can't get it out without doing further damage to it to allow me to fix it and get it back into working condition. I think it's going to work just fine, because as long as you keep your finger there when you go to pull the trigger, you're going to keep the action closed. There's very little movement on there, so I think it's going to do just fine. Another cool thing about this rifle is it is a takedown version, and it's a pretty easy one to take down too. Just take the screw on the bottom here, back it out a few turns, your barrel pulls right off of there, and you got your two pieces to easily store away. It indexes by a little dimple in the bottom here, and that screw actually goes into it. So when you slide this in there, tighten that screw down, the lockup on it is really good because that screw is kind of tapered on the end and fits in that little dimple in there, and it locks up pretty good. The sights on this thing are completely fixed. There is no elevation adjustment. That rear sight is dovetailed in there. The front sight is dovetailed in there. And when I got this, the front sight was extremely far to the left, and I went ahead and bumped it back over to the center. I hope I didn't do that prematurely, because I can't imagine it being that far off. But like I said, this one I have cleaned up, thoroughly checked everything out, and it looks like it's in pretty good shape other than that link screw on there. And that might be something I have to fix later on. It would be a good candidate for a restoration. I don't know if I want to restore it. Maybe just leave the patina on it like it is, as long as it functions fine. Maybe just fix the damaged parts on there and go from there. Another cool thing about this rifle is once you've opened it and you've taken your round out of there and you go to close it, your hammer, you're going to see, is pulled back just a little bit. There's a rod in there that pushes that hammer back, and it pushes it back to the half cock position. So it's unsafe already. So now when you want to fire it, of course, it's going to be, you have to pull it back anyways to fire it. Don't dry fire it, is rim fire. And that's a pretty delicate firing pin that's in there. And it's just a free floating firing pin, so it will move back and forth. Your extractor there will actually push that firing pin back when you go to close the action on it. and then, like I said, it's in the safety position again, and you can't pull the trigger. So you have to cock it, and then you let it fire, and it'll go all the way down then. So again, you open it up, you take your round out, you put your new one in there, you close it, and it's supposed to go back to the half-cock position all the time. It didn't do it that time, but normally it does. Yeah, there, it went back that time. So I'm going to keep an eye on that when I take it out to shoot it, and I am going to take it out to shoot it. It does have a Bakelite butt plate on it, walnut stock and fore end on there. And you'll see there's no tang on the top or the bottom. And what you have to do to take the buttstock off is you take the plate off, and there's a threaded rod that goes all the way through here. It's just threaded on the ends and a nut on the end there, and you pull the buttstock completely off. One screw holds the fore end on there, and like I said, it being a takedown, it's pretty easy just to take it apart, carry it with you wherever you need to go. We're going to get this thing out on the range and give it a few shots and see how it does. Okay, I'm out here at the saloon with the Stevens Marksman. I've got some CCI 22 long here. These are 1215 feet per second, 29 grain, copper plated round nose. This is only chambered in 22 long rifle. I'm sure you could shoot 22 shorts in it and 22 longs. I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem. It usually isn't. It just requires a good cleaning once you've used some of those shorter rounds in there, because you'll build up a little extra carbon at the end of wherever your case was. I do have a target set up out there at the 7 yards, so from back here it makes it 10 yards, but I'm not going to put my camera out there because it is raining today. So I'm going to open this thing up, I'm going to put one round in there, I'm going to close it, and I noticed it did not return to the safety position. It's sticking for some reason just a little bit. Got my ears in and got my eyes on. I'm going to pull the hammer back all the way, and it's ready to go. Now, I have noticed it's a pretty light trigger on it. Let me see what I can do here. Get it hung up on my pocket's what I can do. Now, the reason I'm doing it in the rest here is because I did adjust that front sight on there, and I don't know where it's hidden. Like I said, it was extremely far off, and it shouldn't be that far off. That shot right there looks pretty darn good if you ask me. Let's close this up, and again, it did not return to that safety position. Let's try a second shot on there. That looks like it's just about in the exact same spot where I put the other one. Does not have an extractor or an ejector, so you have to actually, it will pull the case out a little bit, and you have to pull it the rest of the way out. That time it did return to the safety position, so now I can't pull the trigger and do anything. Very light trigger on this thing too. Kind of like it that way. And this will be our 5th shot. And we'll go up there and recover the target and bring it back down here in the dry area. Okay, so there's my wet target. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little bit high, that's about it. I mean, the windage is pretty good, so whatever adjustments I did on there, just kind of eyeballing it with the outside of the barrel, looked like they come out pretty good. The elevation is a little high. It's kind of hard to judge exactly where I want it. I put the center front bead right even with the top of the rear buckhorn on there, and that's what I ended up with. Might be better at a little farther distance, say 50 yards, it might be right on, right there at that spot. with this, you just got to know where you're hitting at. This is going to come with lots of practice, lots of getting familiar with this gun, and you should be able to shoot great with it because the windage is pretty good, elevation is pretty good. They're consistent anyways, so you just got to figure out where it's at. Kentucky windage, they call it. All right, I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to take another 5 shots. I put a fresh target up there, dry one. At least it's dry for now. That'll change here in a few minutes. Little hang up there. I'm going to take 5 more shots at this dry target up here, a fresh one, and see how I can do offhand with it. Did I not pull that all the way back? Let's try it again. It is hanging up there a little bit for some reason. There it goes. Now I'm pretty sure I pulled it all the way back that time. And that was 5 shots right there. That last one might have been a little bit off there, but from what I can see, the rest of them look pretty good. Okay, so there's my 5 shots offhand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 2 of them dead center there. That's some pretty good shooting there. It's hard to believe I did better offhand than I did in the rest. But yeah, that's not bad at all. I think some of that hanging up there when I'm closing it and maybe a couple of the misfires there might be that lever is not pulling the barrel down far enough. And I think when it misfired, just like with my other rifle with the Mossberg Model B where there was a gap there, I think shooting it offhand let it kind of open up a little bit, where when I had it in the rest, it was forcing it to be closed like that. Now that lever being that much slop in it could be what's causing that problem. The only thing I had to do was just kind of, as I was holding it, kind of, you know, pick it up a little bit, close that gap a little bit on there. It's not excessive and it doesn't take that much effort to do it. It would be really nice to fix that lever though, because that link needs to pull it down kind of tight. And with that little small screw and 100 plus years on this rifle of you know, opening and closing it has caused wear on it. I do need to get that fixed. That'll be a project for another day. I've got tons of projects lined up, but it shoots pretty good. The accuracy on it is great. The bore in this thing is fantastic. All right, so there it was, 10 shots with the Stevens Marksman, and it's a pretty good rifle if you ask me, even with the little bit of wear that's in it and everything. It's a great looking rifle. Nice patina on it. It did have a little more rust on it, but like I said, I had to clean it off to be able to find out what it even was. Just knowing by the looks of it, I knew it was a Stevens. I just wasn't sure what model. I am definitely going to fix the link on there because that's got a, like I said, it's not much movement. You probably can't even see it in the camera there. It is just the tiniest bit of movement, and that could have caused the couple of light primer strikes I had there. They did go off on the second shot. 22-inch barrel on this thing, simple takedown on it. All you got to do is loosen that screw up a few turns, pull the barrel right out. Easy to carry with you anywhere you need to. Super easy to clean up. You can put this in your bench vise or whatever and really run your brushes, patches, bore snake, whatever you want through there. I did both on this one. I run a bore snake through it a couple times. I did run a bronze brush through it and scrub it up pretty good, and run a bunch of patches through it till they come out nice and clean. And now that I'm done shooting, I'll do that again, get it cleaned up and get it put away until I get around to fixing the link on this thing. Very cool, 100-plus-year-old rifle. Anyways, thanks for watching Small Caliber Arms Review and taking a look at the Stevens Marksman with me. If you could, reach up here and hit this button and check out some of my other videos. Hit the little round one down here to subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for taking a look at another one of Granddad's old guns.